Nandakanta, why don't you speak first? Oh, Nanda Maharaj, why don't you tell us who should speak first? And please tell us what we should speak about. Now this place of Vrindavan is really, really special because it's described that one's eyes, one's ears, one's tongue, one's senses are all useless if it is not centered around Krishna. And this is what makes these residents of Vrindavan so special. Because everything was centered around Krishna. All these senses, the eyes, ears, tongue, all the five senses was always around Krishna. And they're sitting there, Sringakanta and Madhukanta debating who should go first. And finally Madhukanta says, okay, I will go first. And guess what they start describing? They start narrating all of Krishna's pastimes that just took place in Bhumi Vrindavan when Krishna descended 5,000 years ago. They start describing the advent of Krishna and why did Krishna come into this world. And they're describing all these very pastimes in so much of detail. And then finally, as they conclude one pastime, the residents go back to their home and then they come next day and they begin the same thing with the next pastime. So this has been going on for a few days. They've been hearing the pastimes of Krishna. Now remember, most of them were there, but they just keep on hearing. Because Krishna, He is the absolute truth. He is ever fresh. You can read about Krishna today because He is this all-spiritual being. Tomorrow when you hear about Him, it will be like brand new to your ears. So this is what they were doing, narrating these pastimes. And then finally they come to this pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna. They describe, Sringakanta describes, that it was the day of Diwali. It was the day of Diwali, and Mother Rohini and Balaram, they were feeling something is attracting them to go to the house of Upananda. So they packed up, they got up, woke up very early that day, they got dressed, it was the day of Diwali after all, and they got into the chariot and went to the house of Upananda. And Mother Yashoda, she gave most of the maid servants, she gave them a day off on that day because they were preparing for Diwali, and the next day they had this big Indra Puja. So they gave them the day off, but a few were still there. And it's described that Mother Yashoda, she woke up that day and she wore her best yellow sari. And she was all excited because she wanted to make the best type of milk products for Krishna. Mother Yashoda was always getting these complaints that Krishna from the neighbors, Krishna is coming to our house. Krishna is coming to our house and he's stealing our butter and yogurt. Aren't you feeding your son? What is wrong with you? And Mother Yashoda became so bewildered that it's described that Nanda Maharaj had 800,000 cows. 800,000 cows. And out of these 800,000 cows, she selected the 8 of those 800,000 cows. Then she went to the foothills of Govardhan Hill. And there she planted a special grass for these 8 cows. She planted the grass, she watered the grass, and then she brought these 8 cows to feed from it. It said that if you eat grass from the foothills of Govardhan Hill, you will never ever get any disease. So this is what she wanted to feed her son. So as she was doing this, she then milked the cows, and then the cows, they gave this very special milk. It's called Padma Ganda milk. Padma means lotus, Ganda means special fragrance. Milk that has special fragrance. Anyone bought that from the shop today? Milk that is so fragrant like lotuses. And this is the milk she was preparing for Krishna. She was boiling some milk and then she was churning some yogurt with a wooden grinding mortar. She was churning it, this yogurt, into butter. And as she was doing it, her bangles were making such a beautiful sound. Just like how these cartels make these beautiful sounds. Ching, 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 ching. Singing the glories of Krishna, describing Krishna. Oh, Tilak of Nanda, you are the most glorious personality, that all the residents of Vrindavan are always in bliss when they see you. Their eyes become full of joy when they see you. And like this, she was glorifying Krishna. But you know what it said? It said that as one takes one step towards Krishna, when you chant his glories, Krishna takes 100 steps towards you. So Krishna was in the room next door. His baby Krishna was just fast asleep, but he heard his glories being called. So what happened? He went to Mother Yashoda, who was busy in the kitchen. He went to Mother Yashoda, and she didn't even notice him. She didn't even notice him coming. And he was pulling on the sari. Oh, Mom, oh, Mama, please, please, feed me. Please feed me. Mother Yashoda, this is Mother Yashoda's ocean of joy, ocean of beauty. She had no other choice but to leave everything as it is, because she became so bewildered by Krishna's beauty, immediately picked her baby up and took her to the room next door to breastfeed Krishna. They said that there was so much of milk coming out from Mother Yashoda's breast, it was flowing like the monsoon season, the rain in the monsoon season. And Krishna was drinking this milk just like a chataka bird. You know what a chataka bird is? A chataka bird is a bird that lives in the clouds and only drinks water from the clouds. It never drinks water that falls and touches the ground. And this is how Krishna was feeding off the mother. But as she was doing that, she forgot completely of what she was doing before. That she had the spot of milk on the stove. Now, in the spiritual world, we should remember that everything is animate. Everything has life, even a pot of milk. The spot of milk was so excited that it was going to finally be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life was complete. And there this Krishna comes and he pulls Mother Yashoda away and she's breastfeeding him now. So this mom becomes so upset. It becomes so morose, so depressed, it doesn't know what to do. And think, I have no choice of living. I have no idea, why should I live anymore? The milk is speaking. It says, I'm just so depressed now. I have no life left. I'm just going to kill myself. And like this, the milk started churning up and churning up. And before you know it, and Mother Yashoda heard the sound in the room next door. And immediately she thought, oh, the milk, I was preparing all these milk food stuff for Krishna and now it's about to spill over. She immediately ran to the kitchen next door to go and see what's going on and try to salvage this milk, try to save the milk's life. And she was too late. She was too late. The milk already killed itself. The milk already killed itself, and she was all distorted, but she went and she tried cleaning and tried saving whatever she can. But now, our two narrators, they didn't come in. Remember, Kanta is telling the story, and Kanta all of a sudden steps in. He steps in and says, how can the Supreme Lord be so hungry? Well, how can the Supreme Lord be so hungry? And how can Mother Yashoda think that the Supreme Lord is hungry and that he's going to get thin by not feeding him? This is what Madhukanta says. That he's going to get burned if you don't feed him. Why is Mother Yashoda thinking like this? So they play a very special role, these two narrators. And as they say this, Snigakanta says, "Oh Madhukanta, stop interrupting me. I will tell you the conclusion very, very shortly." Now just for a moment, I'm going to give you an idea of these two narrators. How they always coming in during these pastimes, speaking and really thinking sometimes about how we are thinking. Like the pastime when there was an it was an Ekadasi, it was an eclipse, and during this eclipse it said it was all inauspicious. And Vasudeva, Krishna's father, he wanted to have a yagya at Kurukshetra. And at Kurukshetra, he wanted to call all the world's kings to come and partake in this yagya, just to create auspiciousness. And then Snigakanta and Madhukanta, they come in and they say, just see, what is wrong with Vasudeva? What is wrong with him? He has Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-attractive personality of Godhead, the personality who's all auspicious. When Krishna comes, Maya runs away. Why is it that he wants to do a yagya? What is wrong with Vasudeva? So this is the mood of Snigakanta and Madhukanta. At a different time, when Devaki heard that Krishna brought the children of his spiritual master back, of his guru back, he said, okay. Devaki asked Krishna, why don't you bring my children? Remember, Krishna was the 8th child of Devaki. Bring back the 7 children. Again, Snigakanta and Madhukanta, they look at each other, shake their heads, and why do you want to bring back these 7 children when you have Krishna and Balaram, the Supreme Personality, as your children? Why would you want other children? So this is Snigakanta and Madhukanta. And Snigakanta continues the story. Krishna, in the meantime, he became so upset that Mother Yashoda left him. He put his teeth over his lips that are described to be like the ripened bimba fruit. And he bit it so hard. He was really angry. He was able to pull the latch and get in. And then he saw all this butter and all this yogurt and all these different types of milk sweets hanging from the ceiling. They were hanging from the ceiling, so immediately he took one of his grinding stones, turned it around, took some stones, and he started breaking these pots. And he started relishing this. But he wasn't relishing this on his own. When he came as Lord Ramachandra, he remembered how Hanuman and the monkey friends were helping him. So he said, I will repay you back in Dwarpa Yuga. I will repay you. So he called all of his monkey friends. And when he called his monkey friends, he started distributing all of these foodstuffs, all of these special Padma Ganda milk. He was distributing it to all of his monkey friends. He was doing food for life. He was doing food for life. And Mother Yashoda, she was busy cleaning up in the kitchen and she was thinking, oh, where is Krishna? Why is it so quiet? So she went to the room next door and she saw Krishna is not there. But then she saw his baby footprints, which is marked with a flag, elephant gold, and a lotus flower, which has some of the symbols on his feet. And she immediately followed it. And as she followed it, she picked up a stick. She followed his footprints, and there she saw Krishna. Krishna was feeding these monkeys, but he was so fearful. He was so fearful, his sharp-shaped earrings were shaking. Krishna was looking at the reflection in this clay pot, looking out. When is my mother going to come? When is my mother going to come? When is my mother going to come? He was so scared. And then she came into the room. The monkeys were the first ones to see her, and the monkeys went in all different directions, north, south, east, west, through the window, through the door. They ran for their lives, making all their monkey sounds. And there was Krishna. Krishna was there, stranded. Somehow or the other, Krishna got out of the room, and Mother Yashoda tried chasing Krishna. It said that she was trying to chase Krishna. Our Acharya described that this chasing is just like, when you have a group of clouds that are traveling with the wind through the west, and then you have a small cloud that's going to the east. This is what she was trying to do. Both of them were chasing, or Krishna was running and running and running and running, and Mother Yashoda was trying to catch him and catch him and catch him and catch him. But this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You cannot just capture Krishna just like that. We can only capture Krishna by devotion. And as I mentioned earlier, this Mother Yashoda, she was decorated with all of these beautiful flowers on her head. And everything in the spiritual world is eminent yet again. So these flowers were thinking, oh, we are creating so much of weight. We are creating so much of weight on Mother Yashoda. Please let us just fall down and make her lighter so that she can catch Krishna. So this is how some of the flowers from her hair fell down. The flowers on the other side of her hair, they were thinking, Mother Yashoda is about to catch Krishna. She's about to catch him. And we don't want to be part of this conspiracy. We don't want to be part of this conspiracy. And these flowers fell down. And after some endeavor, Mother Yashoda, she was finally able to catch Krishna. When she caught Krishna, Krishna was shaking. She had the stick in the hand. And she said, oh, King of Thieves, you are the King of Thieves. And I think you get this from your father's side. You get this from your father's side. You are the thieves. But then Krishna tears started rolling down his lotus-like face. That face that looks like hundreds and hundreds of full moons, all rising at the same time. Tears were falling from his face. She dropped the stick. But she realized that she had so much of work to do. So she thought, let me take this rope that we used to tie cows up, and let me bind Krishna. Let me bind Krishna. So she did this. She took the rope, let me bind Krishna to the mortar, and guess what? She was 2 fingers too short. The neighboring gopis, they heard of the story, or they heard all of the commotion. They immediately came running, and they said, see, your son is a thief. We proved it. He's a thief. He saw this and said, let us bind up. They brought all the rope from their home, and yet they were 2 fingers too short. They brought rope from the neighboring villages. They brought whatever rope, shape, sizes they could find, binded it all together and tried tying Krishna, and yet there was still 2 fingers too short. Krishna wasn't expanding, but they were 2 fingers too short. And finally, Krishna saw the endeavor, and because of that, he allowed Mother Yashoda to be bound. Our Acharya described that these 2 fingers, these are the 2 fingers, the middle finger and the index finger, these are the 2 fingers that's how short she was. And finally, she was able to bound Krishna. So Krishna was bound, standing all day, but the story doesn't end there. We know that the story doesn't end there because Mother Yashoda went to continue with the household activities. And Krishna, he took this wooden grinding mortar which he was bound by, and he started crawling. And he saw this 2 Yamala Arjun trees standing in the palace of Nanda Maharaj. He went in between them and he pulled that wooden grinding mortar so hard that it made a large bang. It made a large bang that is described that all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, besides the deaf, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan lost their composure. Some of them even fainted for some time or blacked out and woke up after a few moments. Nanda Maharaj and the coward boy, the elderly coward man, they came rushing to the scene and they asked, what happened here? What happened here? Said, no, it was Krishna. We saw the whole thing. Krishna's friend said, he brought these 2 trees down. He's a baby. How can he bring the two trees down? No, I'm telling you, Nanda Maharaj, he did it. He did it. They didn't believe them. But we all understand that these 2 trees came tumbling down, and these 2 trees, which were cursed by Narada Muni, the sons of Kuvera, they were cursed by Narada Muni to take birth in the palace of Nanda Maharaj. And because Narada Muni, this pure devotee, was approaching them, and they were sporting with their girlfriends in the river, all naked and having a good time, and they didn't even bother covering themselves when they saw a saintly personality. So like this, Narada Muni cursed them. Now it said when a saintly personality curses you, it is not a curse, but it is a blessing. So this is what they would do. They were blessed to be in these 2 trees. And like this, Krishna then gave them liberation. Krishna then gave them liberation. So then, Nanda Maharaj, he rescues Krishna and he asks Krishna, Krishna, who has done this to you? He says, Mother Yashoda. Please, she has done this to you? He said, yes, she has done this to me. Why don't you, do you want to go to Mother Yashoda now and get breastfed by her now? He says, no, I don't want to go to Mother Yashoda anymore. Then what milk will you drink? He said, no, I will drink milk from the cows with sugar. I will drink milk from the cows with sugar. Oh, then who are you going to play with every day? I will play with you, Nanda Baba. I will play with you. Then, do you want to go to Rohini? No, I don't want to go to Mother Rohini because she left me in the morning. She went away with Balaram. She left me in the morning. Oh, must I hit Mother Yashoda because she did this to you? He said, yes, you should beat her up. So jokingly, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj raised his hand in a joking way and was about to playfully smack Mother Yashoda, and Krishna intervened, and Krishna put his hand there and said, no, please don't hit her, please don't hit her. And he went into Mother Yashoda's lap. Shri Yashoda Damodar Ki. So to say, Advent on Sunday begins 16 days of activism against women and children. So we'll be having a special program here on Sunday at 3 p.m. with Krishna Girade Mataji. So we look forward to seeing you there. So this is what happened. Mother Yashoda has a Krishna again. Everyone, the residents of Gokul who are hearing these pastimes, they become so joyful by hearing these pastimes. And then Snehakanta and Madhukanta says, okay, that is all for today. That is all for today. So everyone's also joyful. Everyone's singing Krishna's glories. They go to their homes. They come back the next day. And they're about to start the next pastime of how Krishna leaves. Basically, Krishna was staying at Nandagram, and now because of all these disturbances, they're going to move to Vrindavan down. So they're about to decide to begin the story. And just as they're about to start, Nanda Maharaj stops them and says, yesterday you said that these 2 sons of Kuvera, they got liberated and they are here now today. So, did they get liberated into the heavenly planets? And he says, no. They actually got liberated right here into the Vaikuntha planets. Oh, in the Vaikuntha planets? Actually, they didn't get liberated into the Vaikuntha planets. They got liberated into this highest tier in the spiritual world. Gokul. Right here. He says, oh, if these two sons of Kuvera have been liberated here, where are they now? Please ask them to stand up. We would like to see these two sons of Kuvera. And Sringakanta and Madhukanta, they looked to the ground and they said, actually, we cannot say where they are right now. Nanda Maharaj looks at them and said, you must say, you must say. And the two narrators coming again said, actually, we cannot say. Nanda Maharaj went on and pleaded, you have to say, you have to say. Until he pulled rank and said, I am the king here, I am King Nanda Maharaj, I demand you tell me where are these two. And very humbly, they put the eyes on the ground and said, you are looking at these two personalities. Sninga Kanta and Madhukanta were the two sons of Kuvera. So it all makes perfect sense. It all makes perfect sense that these two personalities were standing as trees in the courthouse of Nanda Maharaj. And this is why they were so expert at narrating these pastimes, because they were there every single day of Krishna's birth. They saw Krishna's birth and they saw all of these pastimes. And this is why they were expert in narrating these pastimes. They were privy to all of the details of these pastimes. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, by understanding my transcendental activities, you will never take birth again. So this is what they were guaranteed. They were guaranteed Krishna's direct association, not only in Bhumi Vrindavan, but they were then liberated to Gokul as well. And this is the potency of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pastime is about two things. It's about endeavor and it's about mercy. We saw that Mother Yashoda had to go through so much of endeavor to bind Krishna. Mother Yashoda had to go through so much of endeavor to prepare all of these food preparations for Krishna. So much of endeavor. And then we see the two sons of Kuvera, and they just survived on mercy. They didn't have to do anything, and the mercy was just flowing to them. So this is why they said from these two fingers, the short one represents endeavor. And the one that's bigger than the shorter one, that represents mercy. Mercy from the Lord is much greater than our own endeavor. Mercy is much more greater than our own endeavor. And this is why it's such a special time that Kartik concludes today, and tonight, tomorrow morning, the December book marathon begins. The December book marathon begins, and we know and we understand how pleasing it is to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It is because of Srila Prabhupada we are all sitting here today understanding the glories of Krishna, understanding Krishna's form, qualities and pastimes. It is all through Srila Prabhupada. But one thing that pleased Srila Prabhupada so much, and he gave so much of mercy when the devotees were doing this pleasing service, was the service of book distribution. Prabhupada had his GBCs, Prabhupada had his temple presidents, he had his senior leaders, but through this book distribution, it should actually bring a smile to Prabhupada's face. And this is why today we are very happy to launch the 2018 December Book Marathon. Srila Prabhupada ki, Transcendental Book Distribution ki. while we quickly setting